Some people commit crimes so monstrous that the justice system makes one final irreversible decision. They will never walk free again. Not in 10 years. Not in 20. Never. Today, 10 people for whom prison became the last stop. Forever. Number 1. Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán. He was called the most powerful drug lord in the world. As the head of the Sinaloa cartel, he spent decades controlling drug trafficking into the United States, building an empire worth tens of billions of dollars. He escaped from Mexican maximum security prisons twice, first hidden in a laundry cart, and a second time through a mile-long tunnel dug directly beneath his shower. In 2019, a U.S. court sentenced him to life plus 30 years. He now sits in ADX Florence, the only federal supermax in the United States, known as the Alcatraz of the Rockies. 23 hours a day in a soundproof cell roughly 7 by 12 feet. The bed, desk, and stool are all made of poured concrete, a 4-inch window. Meals are pushed through a slot in the door. A former warden described it this way: "This is life after death. It is far worse than death." In letters to his lawyers, El Chapo says he is losing his mind. In the history of the facility, not a single successful escape. Number 2. Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. He killed women for 20 years, from 1980 to 2000. His victims were vulnerable women in the Seattle area. All that time, he lived like an ordinary man. He worked as a painter, attended church, and was married 3 times. In 2003, he confessed to 49 murders, making him one of the most prolific serial killers in American history. In exchange for helping investigators locate the remains of his victims, his life was spared. The court handed down 48 consecutive life sentences plus 480 additional years. In 2011, a 49th victim was identified. Another life sentence was added. Ridgway remains in a Washington state prison to this day. He is 85 years old. Number 3. Ramzi Yousef, mastermind of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. Before September 11th, there was another attack on the World Trade Center. In February of 1993, a bomb blast in the tower's parking garage killed 6 people and injured more than 1,000. The man behind it was Ramzi Yousef, the nephew of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who would later mastermind the September 11th attacks. Yousef also designed Operation Bojinka, a plan to simultaneously blow up 12 American airliners over the Pacific Ocean. It was discovered by accident when his apartment in Manila caught fire in 1995. In 1998, he was sentenced to 2 life terms plus 240 years. He now sits on what's known as Bombers Row inside ADX Florence, in the same facility as El Chapo, in a special wing reserved for the most dangerous terrorists on Earth. Number 4. David Berkowitz, son of Sam. From 1976 to 1977, New York City lived in genuine terror. Berkowitz prowled the streets at night, shooting random people, couples in parked cars, young women on doorsteps. He mocked police with taunting letters signed "Son of Sam," daring detectives to catch him. He killed 6 people and wounded 7. In court, he claimed a demon had possessed his neighbor's dog and commanded him to kill. He received 6 consecutive life sentences. Technically, he is eligible for parole, but he has applied 12 times and been denied 12 times. The strangest part, Berkowitz says he doesn't want to leave. He has become a prison pastor and calls the facility his home. Number 5. Larry Nassar, USA Gymnastics National Team. Doctor for 20 years, he worked as a team doctor. Under the cover of medical procedures, he abused hundreds of young athletes, including Olympic champions. The institution protected him for years. Those who tried to speak up were silenced or ignored. In 2016, the dam broke. More than 350 women came forward against him. At sentencing, Judge Rosemarie Aquilina looked him in the eye and said, "I just signed your death warrant." Nassar received a combined sentence of 140 years. He will never be free. Number 6. Keith Raniere, founder of the NXIVM cult. He presented himself as a personal development guru. Prominent actresses, businesswomen, and daughters of billionaires paid thousands of dollars to attend his seminars. Behind the facade was a cult. Women were blackmailed with compromising material, kept on starvation diets, and branded on their bodies with his initials using a hot iron, so they would belong to him. In 2019, he was convicted of forced labor conspiracy, racketeering, and sex trafficking. The sentence, 120 years. He smiled in court. He will never see freedom. Will. Number 7. Joseph DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer. A former police officer, that is exactly what allowed him to evade justice for 3 decades. He knew how investigations worked, and he always stayed one step ahead. From 1974 to 1986, he committed 13 murders and more than 50 sexual assaults across California. He was called the most elusive criminal in American history. He was finally caught in 2018 through a DNA match using a publicly available genealogy database. He was 72 years old. He had been living in a Sacramento suburb, going to the grocery store and tending his garden. In 2020, he pleaded guilty and received 13 consecutive life sentences. He will die in prison. Number 8. Paul Bernardo. The Scarborough rapist Canada knows him as one of the most brutal criminals in the country's history. In the late 1980s, he attacked women across the Toronto suburbs. Then he married, and his wife became his accomplice. Together, they kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and murdered 2 young girls. Among the victims was his wife's own underage sister, whom she helped drug herself. Bernardo received a life sentence and was designated a dangerous offender, a special legal status in Canada that effectively eliminates any possibility of release. Every parole application has been denied. His wife, through a plea deal, walked free after 12 years. Canada has never forgiven that decision. Number 9. Michael Swango, Dr. Death. Wherever Swango worked, patients died. He poisoned patients and colleagues, taking pleasure in watching them suffer. Colleagues noticed strange patterns, but complaints were buried. He was fired. He forged documents and found work at another hospital, in another city, in another country. This went on for years. In 2000, he pleaded guilty to murdering 3 patients. Investigators believe the real number of victims exceeds 60. The sentence, 3 consecutive life terms with no possibility of parole. How many people he actually killed remains unknown to this day. Number 10. Brenton Tarrant, the Christchurch terror attack. On March 15, 2019, he walked into 2 mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand, and opened fire. 51 people died. He filmed the attack himself and broadcast it live. The first time in history a terrorist attack had been live-streamed. Before the attack, he distributed a hate-filled manifesto online. The court sentenced him to life imprisonment with no possibility of parole, the first such sentence ever handed down in New Zealand. The judge declared, "You are a terrorist. You are a murderer. You are an extremist. You have nothing to offer the world." Tarrant listened to the verdict in silence, showing no emotion whatsoever. 10 people. 10 stories that prove some crimes exist beyond any possibility of forgiveness. Justice has spoken its final word, and those doors will never open again. Never.